Hello, Mr. Ryan. My name is Marcos, and I have interview questions.
Okay.
So, first question is, what is your current job title and position?
I am the director of bands at University High School.
Okay, and how long have you been in this role?
This is my second year as the head director, but I've been at the school for 6 years.
Okay. What degree/training do you have in this profession?
I have a Bachelor of Music Education from Florida State University.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. How long did it take you to complete your degree/training?
I was at Florida State for 4 years, but technically my degree was 4.5 years because the last half a year was my internship at Boone High School with Mr. James Henderson. So 4.5.
I didn't know this stuff. Oh, okay. How did you land this position?
The guy who was the band director here was a man named Adam Steff, and after my internship with Mr. Henderson, he found out that there was a position opening at university, so he called Mr. Steff. Now, Mr. Steff was my high school band director, so we had the same philosophy and the same vision and approach to the program, so he thought I would be a good match, and so Mr. Steff recommended to the principal that I be hired.
Can you describe your career/educational path to this current job?
My career/educational path. I mean, I joined band. There's always been music in my family. Both my parents are musicians. I joined band when I was in 5th grade. I knew I wanted to be a band director since 8th grade. And then went and got my degree. After my internship, I taught briefly at Space Coast High School for a couple months, and then I started here. So this has been most of my career.
What do you enjoy most about your job?
Oh goodness, there's a lot of different things. What I wasn't expecting was just the kids. Like, you form relationships with the kids that, you get to know them as people, and since you see them every day for 8 hours a day for 4 years, you wind up being very close to a lot of them. Also, it's just fun to be able to play music all day. Some people are like working at banks or, just doing lawsuits all day, and I just get to, conduct the Wind Symphony. And
Okay.
it's great.
What do you like least about your job?
What do I like least about my job? The hours.
Hours.
You're here
Wow.
all the time.
Okay.
Really early in the morning until really late at night. And yeah, it's hard to have a personal life or a family life sometimes.
Okay. Well, what advice do you have for students who are interested in this career or trying to make it to this career?
Advice? The first piece of advice I got when I got the job here was, and this is not going to be what you expect, was you have to be able to walk away because there's always something else to do, and if you don't just leave it and go home at night, you'll be here all the time, and it'll consume your life, and then you'll get burned out and you won't be able to do it anymore.
Okay.
So you have to maintain balance in your career and the rest of your life. And then in terms of like getting a good job and being a better teacher, you want to go watch really great teachers teach.
Okay.
So before you land your first job, find out where are the really good band programs in the area, and just call their band directors and be like, hey, I would like to go observe you rehearse. I would like to go watch one of your rehearsals. And then if you can get like a staff job or private lessons or something where you're teaching, that helps too.
Okay. How old were you whenever you actually realized that you loved music? Your age?
I learned to read music the same time I learned to read English. Like, as far as I know, I've been able to do it my whole life, so I don't know.
Wow. Okay, and do you have a retirement age?
Do I have a retirement age?
Yeah.
A lot of band directors live very long and don't retire because you're constantly getting this upper respiratory exercise, so you need to stay in shape.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
That we'll get to it when it comes to it.
Okay. That's all, but I have to ask you like 2 more questions that I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
So, how do you deal with attitude?
It's gotten a lot better. When I first got here, we had tons of attitude. You just have to be consistent. And when you first go somewhere, there's going to be resistance from the kids who've been there a long time. But, the freshmen, they don't know anything except you, right? And then the next year, half the band doesn't know anything except the way you do things.
Sure.
The third year,
Yeah.
3/4 of the band. By the 4th year, the whole band doesn't know anything except the way you do things, and so attitude just drops because nobody remembers anything different. And then by that point, the kids that have attitude are so vastly outnumbered by the kids who are on board with what you're trying to do that they're going to be getting the social pressure just from their friends to, act the way you want them to. So that problem, you just be consistent, and it kind of takes care of yourself.
Okay.
And then the one thing I would say is if you are getting attitude from a kid, you gotta talk to them as a person and find out what's going on that's creating that. You know, sometimes it's stuff going on at home, and once you ask about that and they realize you understand, they're not going to be giving that attitude to you anymore. So you just gotta approach people as people and not just as students.
Okay. What's your patience level?
My patience level? A lot of people tell me I'm a lot more patient than I should be.
Okay.
To the point that probably I let people get away with things longer than they should. But yeah, you definitely do have to be patient. Bobby Adams was the band director at Stetson for a long time. He said, you need to be willing to ask your students to do something exactly one more time than they're willing to not do it. You know, so if they keep playing a G natural and you want them to play a G sharp, you have to ask them to play a G sharp exactly one more time than they're willing to keep playing a G natural. Or if you want them to stop acting up, you have to ask them to sit down and be quiet one more time than until they're just overhearing you say it and they're just going to sit down so you don't say it again. So you do have to out-patient the kids.
Okay.
Which isn't hard to do.
Really?
Oh, kids don't have any patience.
That's
So
true.
if you keep getting on them about the same thing,
Yeah.
eventually they'll give in, as long
That's
as you
true.
don't get frustrated.
That's true. Okay, well, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
It's good to see you again, Mark.
Good to see you. So I'm not done talking, but we can stop.
Oh, okay.